What if Jesus, the most influential teacher in history, was secretly a master memory artist? Hear me out, because I'm going to explain what I mean, but first I want to share a quick story of how my mom records our family history. My mom has been scrapbooking my entire life. In our home, we have these large photo books organized not just by year, but by location, usually a country or a region. Whether it's vacations, family reunions, or even challenging times like hospital stays or business trips that my dad took, our memories revolve around these places. Interestingly, most of the important lessons I've learned from my parents didn't happen at home, at least not that I remember. They occurred on camping trips, mission trips, or other adventures. Don't get me wrong, the home is special, but these locations serve as powerful memory hooks that keep those important moments alive in our minds. In a similar vein, Jesus didn't confine himself to one place, expecting everyone to come and visit him. Despite his immense popularity, he chose to travel from Galilee to Judea to Samaria and beyond. After his death, it makes perfect sense that his disciples retraced their steps using these location-based memories to recall his teachings and the miracles that he performed. By connecting teachings to specific places, the disciples could vividly remember and share Jesus' message. What happened in Cana? Oh, well, that's where there was that wedding and Jesus turned the water to wine. It was his first miracle. What happened when they traveled through Samaria and stopped at Jacob's well? That's where Jesus taught about being living water. Where did the disciples learn about Jesus' power over the wind and sea? Well, that lesson, as they crossed the raging Sea of Galilee one evening, that would be really hard to forget. In some ways, we can still see this concept in action today. Scripture comes alive for so many people when they actually visit Israel in what was once called Asia Minor and walk through the very places they read about. Standing where Jesus walked, preached, and performed miracles deepens a connection to the teachings, which by extension strengthens your memory of it. If you can't tell, I'm implying that Jesus was a master at using the memory palace technique. I mean, God created our brains with a special knack for spatial awareness, which is why it's so easy for us to close our eyes and imagine the house that we grew up in or the mall that we used to visit every weekend. I don't think it's an accident then that the Creator himself would take advantage of this mental superpower by carefully weaving location into every part of his ministry on earth. Sometimes we miss it because we haven't visited these locations in person, or we take a story out of context of the full journey, but it's there, and the disciples most certainly benefited from it. So what can we take away from this? I've had a few thoughts that I'd like to share with you, and I'm curious to see if you agree. First, knowing how impactful visiting biblical sites can be, I'm now more eager than ever to visit Israel someday. Walking in the footsteps of Jesus would not only enrich my understanding, but also create lasting memories tied to his teachings in these different locations. I mean, can you imagine how impactful it would be to recite stories from memory from the Gospels while walking around Israel, or to recite the entire Epistle of Philippians while walking through ancient Philippi? By the way, if you've ever done anything like that before, please leave a comment because I'd be so curious to know about your experience. Second, the fact that Jesus seemed to leverage location to enhance his ministry gives me confidence to continue encouraging others like you to use techniques like the Memory Palace for Bible memory. Whether it's a full-blown memory palace like what I've taught in this series on Psalm 46, or it's just a natural memory palace that comes from reciting a passage of scripture while walking the same route around your neighborhood, anchoring information to locations is easily one of the best ways to make it more memorable. Another interesting takeaway for me has to do with my boys. I'm inspired to find unique ways to spend time with my boys where I'm intentionally attaching important lessons to specific moments and places. So whether it's a hike in the park or a father-son getaway, linking what I want to teach them to these experiences can, I believe, make them more meaningful. At least that's the way it feels from my own experience. My final takeaway is this: experience trumps theoretical training. I'm sure we can apply this in so many different ways, but when it comes to memorizing the Bible, To me, this means that using scripture in everyday life, when you're out and about or interacting with others in conversation, is beneficial in so many ways over simply memorizing on your own by yourself quietly at home. And if you're interested, you can learn about this technique and 11 other proven strategies in my new book that's available as a digital download, paperback, and now even as an audiobook on Audible. You can check that out here or watch this video next with some fun brain exercises that can help to work out that memory muscle that you might think is really weak. Whatever you do, I encourage you to join me as we continue memorizing what matters.